Hi everybody, this is Kefren, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm going to show you how to boost your FPS in Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Clearly this game was made for console, it's not well optimized right now on PC, so we're going to look at the best parameter for your Windows, and after that we will go inside of the game. So now the best setting for Windows for gaming. So first of all, we're going to search for game mode in the search bar. Make sure that game mode is activated for the past year, it's pretty good. You're getting a decent performance, and you're gonna make sure that all your resources are focused on the game that you're playing. For the Xbox game bar, I still recommend to deactivate this one, causing stuttering, crashing in some games. So I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox game bar. And for the capture, make sure that the background recording is at off, and also the recorded audio is at off. Another thing that I recommend, it's the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Make sure that you're searching for graphics setting. You will need an NVIDIA card, 1000 series or more recent. It will really help with bottlenecks. So if you have a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, even the 2060, you can expect a nice 2 to 5% boost. And also you can expect less stuttering when you're using that. So I really recommend to use that. Another thing that is really important, it's your driver. Make sure that you have the latest driver from AMD, NVIDIA, even Intel if you have an iGPU on your processor. So for an example here with AMD, you just click check for update and it's gonna show you if you have the latest one. You can do the same thing with NVIDIA. Another thing that I can recommend with the NVIDIA and AMD, they have an image scaling for the past a couple of months. From AMD, it's called Super Resolution, and for NVIDIA, it's NIS. I have dedicated video who's gonna show you how to use that and how to configure it. But to explain you quickly what it's about, so you need to enable this. So for example, I'm playing in 2K because my monitor is in 2K. I'm going inside of my game. I lower the resolution at 1080p, and the software will scale it back at 2K. And with this process, I can save 15-20% in my FPS. Also, you can do it if you have a 4K monitor and you want to do 1080p or 2K. You can expect a nice boost. The image quality will not be the same if you compare with native, but in some game it's working very well, and it's very tough to see the difference. So I recommend to use it if you're struggling with your FPS. So if you have an NVIDIA card, just go on your NVIDIA setting, go to control panel, open it, go to manage 3D setting, and just use pretty much the setting that I'm currently using. Honestly, they're pretty much default. So the first one that you need to change is your low latency mode. If you have this technology, make sure that it's at on. The other one is if you want to lock your FPS, for an example, you have a 170 Hz monitor and you want to stay in your G-Sync range, you just put your FPS here at something like 167, something like that. You want to be under 170 Hz to always stay in your G-Sync range. So if you want to do that, it will do that for all your game. It's a global setting over there. So I'm gonna unlock it, and this is pretty much it. If you have access to the change ECC state, I recommend to uncheck it. This will slow your VRAM, so you don't want to use that. For change resolution, make sure that you're playing native. So if you have a 2K monitor, go with 2K. If you have a 1080p monitor, go with 1080p. And super important, look at your refresh rate. A lot of people are missing this step. They buy a new screen and by default it's at 60. So use the maximum refresh rate that is available on your monitor. The last parameter will be your G-Sync. So I recommend, if you want to use G-Sync, I recommend to, first of all, you need to enable it, and I recommend to use the enable for window and full screen. So if you're playing a game like in borderless mode, it will be applied. Also, you can select just one display screen depending on whatever. If your second screen is not compatible with G-Sync, you will just push it to one monitor. Me, I'm not using it. I have a 4090 for my GPU, so I just want to unlock my FPS. So in majority of the game, I'm getting 250 FPS, and my monitor refresh rate is at 170 Hz. So I just want to lower my input lag, so that's why I just unlock everything, but it really depends on your situation. So this is pretty much it for NVIDIA. Another thing that I recommend, it's your energy profile. So write energy in your search bar, go to power option. Make sure that you're running something like balance or high performance. On a desktop computer, it should not be an issue, but if you're playing on a laptop, really make sure that you're using that or a special profile for performance from your brand like Asus, Dell, or whatever. The thing is, sometimes when you plug your PC in the wall, unplug, using it with the battery, sometimes it stay at power saver and you don't want to use that when you're playing a game. So super important to be plugged in and also to use a proper performance profile. Another thing that I can recommend, it's the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This is a software made by the guy from DDU. It's pretty amazing, honestly. It will help if you don't have a lot of RAM in your PC. So if you have 4 gig of RAM, 8 gig, 12 gig, after that, you should be fine. Windows is doing the job properly. So it will free memory and it's gonna make sure that it optimizes your standby list. So what I recommend normally, it's look at your total memory. Here in my case, it's 32. Just divide it by 2. So for me, it's 16. Just press start and it will run automatically. And you just lower the software like that and you're gonna make sure it's optimized. So it's a really good software and also it helps a little bit with stuttering. So I really recommend to use that. One last thing is I have dedicated video on my channel about overclocking CPU, overclocking GPU, depending on your brand and stuff. And it's pretty good because there are basic overclocking guide. I don't touch voltage, so it's pretty safe. You can expect sometimes 2%, 10% boost in your FPS depending on your thermal, depending on your component. But it's something that you need to look at too if you want to optimize your PC for the best performance. So now let's go inside of the game. So now the graphics settings. We're gonna go to graphic over here. First of all, setting type, just go with custom, and also mode is a bit weird. You have like prioritize FPS or resolution, just go with resolution because anyway we will change the parameter. You can see this game was made for console, so it's a bit weird the way they did the settings. So first of all, for maximum FPS, just go with the maximum one, 120. Display mode, make sure that you're using full screen. And super important, look at your screen resolution. By default, it was 1080p and my monitor is 2K. So make sure that you're playing native depending on your monitor. So change your resolution over there. After that, for the page 2, I always disable my VSync. I don't want any input lag when I'm playing the game. But honestly, it's a single player. If you don't like tearing, just enable your VSync or use technology like FreeSync and G-Sync from NVIDIA or AMD. Rendering resolution, I recommend to go with 100. Don't downscale this game. It looks very trash when you go at like 95 or 90. So just go with 100. Texture quality, you can easily go with high quality if you have 6 gig of VRAM and more. 4 gig, go with standard, and less than 4 gig, go with low. I'm gonna go back at high. So shadow quality. Now it's a bit tricky. You have 3 different options, as you can see. I recommend to go standard if you want a decent visual, but if you're struggling right now with your FPS, definitely go low quality and shadow render distance at close. You will have a nice 12% boost in your FPS, so this one is very important to go with that. If you're not struggling, just go like this standard and put this one at close. You're still getting a nice boost in your FPS. Ambient occlusion, you don't have a lot of option. It's enable or disable. It's 5 to 6% difference in your FPS. So if you disable it, honestly, the game looks very flat. So it's a question like, what is your PC right now? Are you playing on a laptop with an integrated GPU? If yes, you have to disable this one. If not, maybe just go with enable. Look at your FPS. Well, what is your goal? Do you want to do 60? Do you want to do 120? So you can expect 6% if you disable it. Screen space reflection, normally sometimes I say to disable it depending on the game. In this game, not a huge impact. I saw like 1 to 2% difference, so go with enable. Same thing with subsurface scattering. Model LOD, go with standard. And those volumetric fog resolution and volumetric cloud quality, huge impact. It's 12% when you go high to low. So again, depending on where you are right now with the guide and how many FPS that you need, low is the best for you, but it degrades a lot your image quality. So I recommend to go with standard if you have a decent amount of FPS. After that, it's more like post-processing stuff. I recommend to disable motion blur for better visibility. Same thing with film grain and depth of field. It will really help with your clarity in your game. Chromatic aberration and lens flare, you can stay at enable. You will lose like 2%. It's not a huge thing. So this is pretty much it. So this is my parameter for Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. If you have any question, just comment in the YouTube section, post me your rig, CPU, GPU, and RAM. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.